Just gonna record this. So nice to see you guys again. Structure, I'll go through a few questions or that people asked on Discord first, and then if you guys want to kind of take it in turns, that would be cool. And also just want to address something that I've been seeing a lot on messages that people have been sending me, and it should add some value. And then if you've got any time, I'll run through a few things as well. The ways that I think most people in this group can get success, how I've made the most success with my business, and next steps, everything, and just general updates. But yeah, let me just grab the questions. It'd be good to know as well before we get started. Everyone in here, I think, is like either agency or kind of, I know Parry, you're like on the appointment setting side. Lou, remind me what is it that you're interested to learn about again?
It was pod.
Print on demand. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember your question. Yeah, actually, people don't have the same names as they do on the Discord, so he's trying to remember who's who.
Yeah, I should probably match my name to be fair.
Yeah, it'd be helpful, but it's all good. I'll remember. But yeah, James, I know you're interested in agency. Luke, to remind me as well, but I'll get used to it. Cool. So I tell you what, because you guys are here, we'll go through you guys first. If you've got any specific questions, I think Parry, you definitely did. So
yeah, I've got quite a few. My first question is, what would you? Because like I've heard a lot of people say, maybe you shouldn't outsource some of the tasks you have until you're at like maybe 5 or 10K.
Yeah.
But what would you say to outsource first?
Okay, good question. I like to think of this as a matrix and or like a grid. Not everyone knows what that means, but I can actually make this, but I will just explain to you first. Just give me 1 second. What is it that you're thinking of outsourcing just while I do this?
Well, I haven't got anything that I was gonna do yet, but I was just wondering if I was going to, what it would be first and second and third sort of thing.
Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, if you're thinking of outsourcing anything, I like to, well, just if you think about your business as a whole and responsibilities, I like to separate things up into high skill, low skill, high time input, low time input. So, high skill might be running paid ads for brands, and that would generally be quite high time input as well, because it's going to be your main or one of your main core offerings or services. An example of low skill might be, just think of any tasks that's like copy and pasteable. If you're ever, which I remember doing this, like copy and pasting messages or copying and pasting leads into spreadsheets, like pretty much every human being in the world can do that if they're like, of some sort of cognitive state that most people are in. And you shouldn't really be doing that if you're the business owner, or if you're the person that is probably the most able to drive revenue in a business, right? So and on the other hand, it requires a lot of time as well. Generating leads can take ages. When we hired a VA, we set like the goal of getting, I think it was like 100 leads an hour, which was quite unrealistic when you need them detailed. It can take sometimes a full day to collect enough leads just to do outreach for the next week or so. So that's very low skill, very low, very high time input. So that's what I would try and outsource first. Anything that's very easy to teach, or that a lot of people may have that skill, and it's also requiring you a lot of time to do, because you should be spending your time on revenue generating activities first and foremost, and then also further down, spending your time on the highest revenue generating activities. So an example might be, cold emails compared to in my sort of world, cold emails compared to going on a podcast. I get way more potential business out of going on a podcast. I can quite easily, and I have taught salespeople and taught people in my team to do the cold email side. So when you're at your stage, maybe like early on, obviously going on podcasts, it might be quite a hard thing to do, but you want to focus on and try and list everything that's the highest ROI possible, and what's ever the bottom of your list, try and outsource those first. Also combining those with which takes the most time, because sometimes you're going to see that maybe one-off tasks, it's quite hard to outsource those, and you'll as you grow, you'll eventually get to a point where you'll have so many of those tasks that you can hire more of an executive assistant, which is actually the process I'm going through now. I just had a call with an agency that's going to help place one. If you're on TikTok live, join the Discord to get access to this call where I'll answer any of your questions. But yeah, so try and think of it like that. And what we did when we did that exercise, we determined that lead gen was the first thing to outsource. The other side of that, though, is things that you are not skilled at, but it is essential for business growth, such as accounting. So if you should never ever think, unless you were like completely zero revenue, that you should never ever think about taking on the accounting role of the business for longer than you need, because it's very high skill. You need a lot of knowledge. People have degrees to understand it. It takes a lot of time, and it's not generating revenue. In fact, if you focus on doing that only, you will generate no revenue at all. So we very quickly hired an accountant. You can get a decent accountant to cover what you're doing at like maybe less than £100 a month if you're starting out. We recently just changed our firm, but we're doing multiple six figures in revenue, and they were only charging a month, and they were only charging, I think, £500-600 a month for doing that. So that's quite low cost still. But when we first started out with them, it was £100 a month. So yeah, try and think of that as well. Other things maybe, which I think it might be Luke, unless I'm mistaken. If you have an agency and you're not very good at a certain aspect, or maybe that's the wrong word, but if you're not particularly skilled at the ad side, then obviously you need to try and outsource that quickly, because you're not going to end up getting results for your business. When I started out, luckily we had a good split between me and my business partner between the sales skills and the ads skills. So you kind of have to have a decision there, make a decision between the two. If you actually need to fill a gap, otherwise you can't fulfill business, then make that a priority, and then focus on low skill, high time, which, like I said, for us was lead gen. I think it'd probably be the same for you.
All right. So would you only ever start like outsourcing stuff once you're making money, or you're like too busy, or sort of thing?
Yes, but
or can you still do it if like you're not necessarily making that much money, you just want to make things more efficient?
Is yes, but to a point. So you either have time, you can either spend time as a currency, or you can spend money. Sorry, people spamming my TikTok trying to go live. So as an entrepreneur, you either have time or you have money. You should trade, and the only reason you really spend money really is to trade, is to buy more time. The time is your most valuable asset as a business owner, if you're a good one. So you should, in every situation, try and use the money that you're earning through business to buy yourself more time. So very early on, it is difficult to think. I mean, even if you're earning like 1,000 a month or 2,000 a month, 3,000 a month, and it's not, at that point, it's not even, people spend more than that just in a job. It can be quite hard to think about spending some of that, because you're not making loads and loads of money. But even if you saved yourself 5 hours a week, you can make so much more money with that. So one of the things that we realized was we should have outsourced stuff sooner. So we tried to do a bit of the accounting ourselves to begin with. We tried to do all the lead gen ourselves to begin with. As soon as you free up time, you will see your business like grow exponentially. The biggest part of that, the biggest change is when you hire a actual full-time staff member, because that becomes quite a large cost. And I've seen it all the time with coached agency owners that have got to 10K a month just themselves, doing all the sales, all the ads, and they're banking like 9 grand, 9.5 grand a month because they have no expenses apart from software, but they're working, 16, 18-hour days every day, and they've reached a limit there. There's literally no way you can go unless you replace every client that you've got with higher paying clients, which is quite a slow process. So instead, if they just sacrifice whatever, £1,500 of that, £2,000 of that a month to hire somebody, they'll most likely be able to take away half of the workload that you have. You've suddenly got 50% more time, and with that you can double your business. So you have to think about that. So try and outsource, try and give yourself as much time as you can at every single point of your sort of business journey. You always have to come back to, why did you start the business? You didn't start the business, well, most of the time people don't start the business to give themselves a 16-hour-a-day job, because you'll never be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. So try and find areas to outsource as quick as possible would be my advice.
All right, so I was thinking about doing lead gen first. Is my best bet going on like Upwork or something like that and finding someone?
Yeah, Upwork's good. Upwork's good for low skilled tasks.
And that probably isn't going to cost me much per month, is it?
No, so we, in fact, until like maybe 3 months ago, we still had the same virtual assistant doing lead gen for us that we had from 2.5 years ago. Yeah, she was really good, but we kind of changed it up a little bit.
How much would you pay for that?
We started paying her $10 an hour, US dollars, I believe, and then we eventually got that down to $7 US an hour, or 8 or something like that, because some guy had been hounding me, and he was like, I bet I can get you better leads for lower cost, and he did. So I kind of went to her and said, look, this is a business decision, and she matched the price. I wouldn't go.
Sorry, how many hours was she doing as well?
She was doing like 30 hours a week, I think, something like that.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, it was fine, but she was getting probably actually I can't remember now, maybe like 20 leads an hour. We started getting quite 10 to 20 leads an hour, I think, was the goal that we'd set. But this is like everything: phone number, personal email, all the social pages. Also, we only wanted them if they had a certain amount of followers, if you had to see if they were running ads, and if they weren't running ads, there was loads of criteria. If you just want like bog standard details, you could probably get 50 leads an hour, but always try and go for quality when you get to lead gen, because otherwise that becomes the complete root of all your problems when it comes to closing deals. But yeah, I would use Upwork. I wouldn't go below $7 an hour salary, because the quality is not going to be there. Never ever sacrifice, a few bucks, a few pounds for quality of hiring, because it leads to way more issues. We tried people for $3 an hour and they were complete shit, and ended up wasting loads of hours of our time. When you go try and find any sort of person off Upwork, anything to be honest, but on Upwork we had the formula we used was you basically, there's a few things to know in the job description. Put at the very bottom in like capital letters or something, mention this word, and just put a random word if you read this far. And first of all, remove anyone that doesn't mention that, because they've not read the job description. People just spam for job openings on Upwork. Another thing to consider is always give people a trial run. You can pay them if you want. A lot of people don't expect it, but you might say, can I get 10 sample leads? And you want to do that, 5-10 applicants. Whoever gets the best, you might narrow it down by half, half of the applicants. And then give people a trial run, so maybe give them a week. And note that you have to be really supportive when you're hiring somebody to start with. Very rarely, unless you're headhunting people or it's for a very senior role like CEO or sales director, are people going to come on and you're not going to need to train them that much. It's very most of the time you're going to have to train them, and you have to be patient. First week, first few weeks, first month even, people will make errors, and that's not a bad thing. So I always like to think about it as if when you're hiring somebody, it's not going to save you any time to begin with. It's probably actually going to add more time to your day, because you have to teach them and you have to be responsible and check and review. So don't leave it too late. If you're completely like, you have 0 minutes left in the day and you need to hire someone right now, it's actually going to be quite difficult to find the time to get someone. So a few things like that. And then, yes, what we would do is we would then give like 4 or 5 a week's trial run paid. And then we'd pick the best one, because we did it the other way first. Found someone, one person, hired them straight away, rushed the process, and they were rubbish, wasted a week of money, of time, of effort. So then we were like, okay, let's be more strict with who we hire here. And then we found someone really good, and they worked for us for 2 years. So just a few things to think about when it comes to virtual assistants. But another thing, this is just my experience, Filipino VAs or Filipinos on Upwork are just incredibly loyal people. So we tried loads of different people, loads of different nations. Something within the Filipino culture, in my experience, is just, I don't know what it is, but it's just extremely loyal people, very easy to work with, very good English, a lot of them. So not to be segregating anyone, or it's sometimes a bit unethical to do that, but I would try my best to find someone like Filipino VA, because they actually there's like schools in Philippines that train you to become a VA. We work with an agency that only offers Filipino VAs. So another thing I would consider.
All right, that's good to know. Thank you for that. Don't know if anyone else has got any questions.
Anyone who's watching on TikTok, I'm only answering questions to people in the Discord, so make sure you jump in there and jump on the live, just to because people have joined and asked questions already. So appreciate you watching, but make sure you jump on the Discord. There's a link in there. I will answer questions on TikTok after I've answered people's questions here first. Yeah, anyone else want to go?
I can next.
Sweet. Hang on, let me just change my headphones, because can you hear me?
Yeah. Sorry if there's a bit of wind. I've had to take dog out, so
It's all right, mate. How's it
I am
going?
walking outside, but we're still here. All right. So the first question, well, I know it's quite a hard one to answer, but so it was just getting into good sales calls, really. How can you execute a good sales call? Bear in mind, I've got no clients. So moving forward, I'm going to have to obviously be honest with them and tell them that I've just started out. I was just wondering if you've got any sort of tips that could help me gain a few clients, really, on lack of experience.
Yeah, it's a massive topic. Training sales people is it's a business in itself. So I couldn't go through everything that you'd need on this call. I'm putting loads of resources together for that. But I think the root problem there, like you said, is you don't have clients, so the sales process is going to be difficult. I would really not get picky when you're starting out. I think I went through this last time, but our first client was very low paid, £250 for the first month, £250 ad spend. Definitely not an ideal client, but we managed to secure that through a friend of a, she went to the same town she lived in the same town as me. She knew my mum, I think. And we just got it because it was an experience. So people say don't do free trials and free work. And yes, I agree with that once you're getting going. But when you're starting out, don't get picky because that wasn't a free trial even, but it was low pay. That got us a little bit of experience. And then we got another business with it was slightly better. And then the third business we signed was a really, really good business, but we wouldn't have got that if we hadn't got the other two. So just don't be picky. Try and get some sort of experience by offering either free work, reaching out to a friend of a friend, someone in your network, go local to start with, because there's that immediate connection.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, just be honest. I think we kind of reviewed this last time, but I think I literally just rang this woman up on message on Facebook and said, you probably think you know my mum. I'm in the same town as you. I'll be honest with you. Fresh out of uni. Actually, I didn't start. I was going into uni. I'm at uni, and I've been learning a lot about marketing. This is why you should be confident in what I can do. Can I just come in for a meeting and show you how I think I can make a difference? It'll be like 15-20 minute meeting. And you're going to get a lot of no's, but you will get someone that says, yeah, and gives you a chance, especially if they kind of know your situation, because you have to think that every single business owner, apart from the spoon-fed ones that just money, were in that situation themselves. So a lot of people are very respectful of people giving it a go. So I would just keep doing that until you get something, and it will work. It might take you a month, it might take you a few months, but that's sometimes
eventually it will come in.
And just really don't be picky. Get really I think trying to think who it was. Raz.
Yeah,
Jack.
Ryan Sterica.
Yeah, I think theirs was like a tanning salon or a hairdresser or something. And loads of really crap businesses are people's first.
Yeah, I think they even did a 197 at the start as well.
Really?
Or something around there just at the start, and then
yeah, literally.
So it's a client's a client. I'm not going to be picky at all. I just understand that. Well, you just got to keep going, aren't you? You can't drop off or let the nose get to your head, as some people do. And
yeah, man, if business was easy, everyone would be doing it. Everyone would be a millionaire, which isn't the case. But the main thing is, 10, 20, whatever, 30 other people will be trying to do what you do. I reckon 90% of people give up because they won't get that first client. That's from my experience.
Yeah, of course.
If you just keep going, the odds are in your favor.
Eventually someone will just give me that chance.
Yeah. And the first thing to think about is that it's possible. Get your mindset right. That's literally why
I know it is, because I've got mates that have done it and they're doing really well now. So
exactly.
It's something that I know definitely works, and I've seen people similar skills to me blow up in short periods of time. So that just gives me even more confidence in it as well, which is a good thing when you're starting out.
Yeah, exactly, man. All the lads that that obviously came to our program a couple of years ago, there was a few people in the program that didn't do the work, and they didn't execute on what we taught them. But we taught everyone the same shit. Taught everyone the same processes, the same scripts. We taught everyone pretty much from the same starting point. And the only difference in people that succeeded and people that didn't was the ones that actually implemented what we taught and didn't give up were successful. And the ones that, there was a guy that was such a nightmare to work with. He would commit for like a week. He would hit the numbers, and we were tracking everyone's numbers. And then the week later, he wouldn't do anything. And we'd say, what you do? He's like, oh, last week really got me down. I didn't book any calls. I just don't think this is possible and it's going to work. And you look at Jack's, Sam's, whatever, stats, and they did the same thing. They had no call, they booked for a week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, and then the fourth week they booked a call, they signed a client, and then fucking 2 years later the businesses are mental, doing really good stuff.
Yeah, they're doing really, really well. Well,
Yeah.
Sam had quite a bit of experience in sales, didn't he, going into it?
Yeah, that
I
definitely
think he
helps.
worked 2 or 3 years in different sales roles leading up to it. So I think he was quite confident on the phone before he ended up actually getting a call with any client.
Yeah.
Which definitely helped. But
Yeah.
Jack, for example, Jack Robson, he does sales and he was just an electrician before. So
Yeah, exactly.
that just shows that anyone can really do it if you put your mind to it.
Yeah, biggest thing with sales is confidence, and confidence
Yeah,
comes from
definitely.
belief in your ability to do something. So that's why I think mindset's the main step, the first step to being an entrepreneur. If you don't actually believe you can be successful, you're just not going to be. Like you said, people know better than you have managed to do mental things. So just try and always think that. But yeah, sales skills is really important. It does help. It would speed up the process. But I'd never done any actually official sales training or sales roles before I started. I had a 2-week experience on a call center when it was at uni, ringing up graduates, trying to get them to donate to the university, which was like pretty casual. The job I had at investment bank wasn't sales, it was like operations, kind of doing like emails and shit. So the only difference was that I, from like a relatively young age, like 14, 15, had spent a lot of time on mindset and personal development and seen all this stuff that people have been doing. Spent hours on YouTube watching stuff and seeing that like random kids were making millions. And then I was like, well, I must be able to do it. And that's
Yeah,
what started everything. So if you don't feel that, if you don't feel like you can do it, then spend your time on that first. And it can be a lengthy process to change how you think mentally. But once you crack that, there's nothing really that can stop you. It's just learning the blueprint, learning the scripts, learning the formula, which obviously you can learn through myself or anyone, YouTube or anyone that's doing it.
Yeah, I just feel like it's quite hard to sell something if you're not, well, not hard, but it's harder, if you're not confident in, obviously if you've got no results before, for example, then you don't know how you're going to be with your first client, so it's harder to put a confident face on and kind of say what you're going to do when you kind of know that you might not be able to do what you're saying you are going to be able to.
No, that's important point. I think one thing that helped us was actually, so people that start an agency first without learning any of the skills that they're actually going to fulfill, like Facebook ads, TikTok ads, I think that's really shitty of them, to be honest, because that is almost borderline scamming people. You are selling something
Yeah.
you can do. You need to have some sort of knowledge on the service you're offering, but you can, in a way, fake it till you make it. If you've never had a client, but you've watched 10 hours of how to do Facebook ads, or you understand how to do it, or you've had to go yourself, like 90% more, or more than 90% of business owners, probably in the UK, in terms of Facebook ads, or maybe TikTok ads now, because a lot of business owners have not even watched a single YouTube video on how to do Facebook ads, let alone, actually quite, studied it for a few weeks. So always think that most of the time when you're jumping on a call with someone, you're on that call because they assume that you know more than them. So
Yep.
you should have that confidence. If you've studied, I can't remember what it is, but if you've studied like a subject for 5-10 hours, you know more than the majority of people.
Yeah, definitely.
So you might think, oh fuck, I don't actually know if I can do this, but always think, well, I can probably do it better than them. So
Yeah, that's true. I guess they wouldn't even put
so,
any interest in, would they, if they didn't feel like they needed help? So
yeah, exactly. As soon as you get those first results, the confidence becomes self.
yeah, that's where I feel like I could do really well once I get a few results, because I genuinely know what I'm selling is good and working. It'll just make me thrive a lot more. I can remember trying to persuade Jack and Sam to come on holiday with me, and they both looked at me and was like, "Mate, you need to get into sales," because I just fully convinced them. We ended up going as well, and it just made me think like I probably could do it. To be honest, I've just never thought about it.
Yeah, man, do it. Do it. I think
Like I say, it's when you feel confident about something, it's a lot easier to kind of say the right things, I guess, because you believe in everything you're saying.
yeah, definitely. Take it step by step, and I'll definitely help you on the journey with these calls and the Discord, and then obviously if you want to take it next level, we can chat about mentoring and stuff. But yeah, just
Yeah, nice. I did drop you a message of that. I've never got around to actually opening it. To be honest, I don't really use Discord much except to go in your chat, so
All right, no
it's
worries.
not one of my most frequent apps used, but I'm still learning. It's quite confusing.
Yeah, it is a different platform, isn't it? But yeah, we'll have a chat. We'll have a chat later on, man. I'll want to give the floor to someone else because I've only got probably another 15 minutes, if that's all right.
Yeah, great. Well, really sorry, but I'm gonna have to go because I'm just outside. I need to go feed my dog and stuff. But cheers for your time anyway. It's really appreciated. Probably speak to you in a week or something.
Caleb, want to start my own business and to be an entrepreneur, but I don't have an idea of what I can sell. Any ideas? So coming up with business ideas, there's a few ways that you can approach this. Firstly, think about passions, hobbies, interests, alternatively skills. So for example, skills could be you're really good at maths, or you're really good at science, or you're really good at drawing shit, or an artist, things like that. You can make money doing that. You can have a business doing that. In fact, one of the first ways I ever made money was through offering to write people's CVs and cover letters on Fiverr. And I made probably like 600, 700 quid doing that. Wasn't the business that ended up becoming the business that I'm doing now, but it gave me that first step in business. Other things like hobbies, whatever, football, MMA, anything like that. I know kids that have started off with like a TikTok theme page around gaming, and then Lou, you can go next. And then they've managed to grow a page on TikTok to like 100k, and then they're getting offers to do posts, sponsored posts. I think TikTok theme pages are a massively untapped side hustle right now. If you get a page to anything over like 10, 20k followers, you can start charging over £100 a video quite easily. So yeah, I would think do that. Think of like things you enjoy or things that you're actually naturally good at, and there's always a way you can make money doing that. Would be the place to start. Don't get too hung up on passions though. I think when people say follow your passion, only do something if you're passionate, I think is a bit of a bullshit advice, because you can't always make money with your passions, and it kind of leads people down the wrong path. If you want to really be happy forever in business, then you should have some sort of interest and passion in it. But when you're getting started, the focus should just be to kind of make money. So, all right, Lou, what's your question, man?
So I just wanted to ask about non-paid ads on TikTok. If there was an effective way of getting people to funnel into my online store.
Yeah, I think you asked on Discord, right? You messaged me this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to be a full message here. Effective ways without running paid ads, right?
Yeah, best of.
Yeah, so organic TikTok is extremely powerful. If you want a really good example of a company that I know has made over 6 figures in sales without running paid ads, look at a company called the Blendy, or Blendy, Blendie. It's a portable blender.
Mm-hmm.
That guy, and he only had about 10 videos. It was his girlfriend making the content, and he was doing the video like editing, I think. Very simple stuff. You'll see the videos are just repeated concepts. And he showed me his Shopify, and it was February this year to March, end of March, I think, done 100k in sales from viral videos. So very, very possible. Firstly, what you're posting about needs to have the viral potential. So, you know, his thing was a product that's quite cool. You know, it's quite interesting. It's something that people really hadn't seen before, and something that's a little bit. I mean, this can be tailored to anything, like the shock factor. You need to have something that you can create content around that's going to be interesting and have a shock factor or be funny. Anything that's funny really works well on TikTok. But you also actually need to be able to make content with it. So bear that in mind. Once you kind of have those things in place, you just have to really focus on creating content consistently. And yeah, don't just kind of be half-assed with it. You know, posting a video a week is not really going to do anything. You might get lucky. I'd commit to like 30 to 60 days of posting multiple times a day, testing different concepts. I don't just post the same thing. You know, different hooks the first 3 seconds of the video, something that you say there that gets a shock factor, stops people, you know, scrolling. One of the best hooks that I did on one of my TikTok videos, one that went viral recently, was well, go check it out. I can't remember what it was exactly, but it kind of like speaks to a lot of people. Another one that I did was me saying something like, I think I've just found the best side hustle of 2022 or 2023. A lot of people just would stop instantly at that. So try and really focus on your hooks, post consistently, and that should be everything that you need, really. The hook, I can't stress how important the hook is. So if you have a video that's worked, you can literally post the same video with a different hook and it will probably do as well. Or you can use the same hook on a slightly different video the other way around and it will probably do as well. So yeah, two things.
And
Go ahead.
sorry to cut you off. Is it also possible for those ads to be effective without you being in the actual video itself?
Look at the Blendy one. I don't think you see someone's face in any of the videos. You see his girlfriend's hands making the smoothie.
Okay.
You don't have to be at all, but I would say it will, that mental block or that limiting belief or that limit, you are placing a limitation on yourself there by not being on the camera. If you look back at my very first TikTok videos, don't do that because you'll scroll back for ages. But I'm not that comfortable on camera and it's quite cringy and I'm like, you can see I'm kind of nervous. But I kind of just realized if I'd start doing this, it will help me get more successful, builds confidence. So I just kind of thought, get over yourself and just start doing it. And you realize that a lot of people just don't give a fuck. Some people comment shit, it really cares. So I would firstly try and remove that limitation because it will limit you in life in general. But if you really are against it and that's going to be the only reason that you don't make content, you know, just start putting stuff out there. The best thing to do is to just start. And if you have for 30 to 60 days done all those things, I would also at the same time set up like 2 or 3 other accounts and do similar things, slightly different twist, because sometimes the TikTok algorithm is just really shit and weird and it will promote some things and it won't promote other things, and some pages will do well and some won't. If you have truly done that and you've tested it and you've really committed to this, you probably then need to switch up the product or whatever it is that you're advertising in the videos. But unless you've done that, I wouldn't give up. It took me, I think, 3 or 4 months before I even got like a few thousand followers, and then one video just went really viral. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair enough. And then with POD, you know how it goes. Some of these products you don't necessarily have on hand. So I do have sample videos of people actually using the products, for example. So can that be effective as well? On TikTok, it's not as organic as you would like, but is it a starting point?
It's a starting point, but I don't know what you're trying to print on demand, but it can't be that expensive. Like, you should, why are you starting business? You're starting business to like completely change your life, and this is going to be something that's can potentially, you know, sort you out for the rest of your life. You should be willing to invest some money. into ordering your product and making content with it. And if you're not committed to do that, you're probably not serious enough about the idea.
That's fair enough.
Like if you're not willing to order something that's even like £100, I know that might be a lot of money for you, but most people can save that up. Then you're probably not confident about the idea, or you're probably not really cut out for this. Sorry if that's a bit harsh, but you should be willing to invest in what you truly believe is going to work. If I were you, I mean, you can get results with content or the content, whatever you found, but it's not the best and it's very limited. I would buy the product and then you just can make content at will. And you'll see a lot better results doing that.
No, that's fair enough. Right, cheers for that.
There is. If anyone else wants to ask a question, I'm just going to answer Caleb again first. But 25k on TikTok. Where can I go finding people who want to pay to have an ad? It depends on what your niche is, but there's a ton of options. Trying to find, it's quite hard without context, to be honest. So if you want to put that in the message, I could probably give you more specified advice. But finding any sort of company that sells products related to what you post about, I would probably first search just in the search bar for companies, like the names that are similar. Go on Instagram, do the same. Trying to think of an example. Like we work with like a football related brand, and they're trying to search for people that are selling like football kits or football products on Instagram, or even just searching Google. You can probably find loads of people just doing that quite easily. I wouldn't overcomplicate it. But yeah, let me know what kind of page it is and I can probably give you a better answer. If anyone else wants to go before they answer, then let me know.
Yeah. So when I book a meeting, I want to, while I'm on the call, I want to share my screen and present a slideshow or something.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good idea firstly, but how would I structure that? Would I show my process and then some testimonials, or?
Yeah.
And then also how would I show the process? Would I give a really detailed plan of how I'm going to work with them, or just vaguely explain it?
Yeah, so sales decks are very useful. They're not going to be the pure reason that you close a deal. If they are, or you should be able to, without sales deck, really close a deal, but they do really help, especially when you're starting out, because it also acts like a script and a guide without you actually faking it. But yeah, I would just really break down in a visual way your process. Just go onto Google Slides or Canva's probably best. Canva's free, I think it used to be, and we can get really nice looking templates and just try and break it down somewhat visually. So like a timeline always helps. I mean, I can sling together a deck example in the Discord at some point, but yeah, get a sales deck. Before you rely too much on it, never structure a call of like, hey Parry, nice to meet you, I'm going to share my screen, here's a deck. That's like too scripted and robotic, doesn't feel personalized. Spend the first majority of the call, like 20-30 minutes, listening, asking questions, and then you want to make it seem as if the deck is there just to kind of help them understand. So at the first 20 minutes, you're asking the questions, you're talking to them through the struggles, and then you kind of, to go to the deck, I normally say something like, okay, based off everything we've said, I'm really confident we can help you. We seem like a good fit. If we weren't a good fit at this point, I would end the call, because we only work with people that we believe we can get results for. Now I can show you a bit of our process and some case studies and go through the pricing as well. So I've got a deck that we can run through. We'll just take 20 minutes and then share the deck. Try not to overall make the call more than an hour. Try and get it 45 minutes if possible. So bear that in mind when you make your deck. But yeah, just have some sort of visual cue, because also as well, having a deck to send afterwards is really important. So you might as well go through on the call, because never ever send a deck as an attachment that you've not spoke through, especially with pricing on. Never do that, because people just skip everything and go straight to pricing, and then they'll base the decision on that. So yeah.
So go through with the process, then testimonials, and then like pricing.
Yeah.
Okay, and like in regards to me as well, because I'm doing like maybe like a 4-month program. Should I explain exactly what I'm going to be doing, like week on week, or should I just say like what I'm going to do in the month?
No, I wouldn't overcomplicate it. I would definitely explain the whole program, but not in like extreme depth. Or another thing you can do is have that in there, but don't spend too much time talking through it, because it will bore people. You know, humans, at the end of the day, they do have an attention span, and just focus on like the key things. So, you know, when it comes to us with like, well, let me tailor it to you a bit. So if you're using like, if you're showing people how to use like softwares, or, you know, people care more about the outcome than the process. So, I mean, it's probably easier for me to do ads because that's what I know. But we, when we're talking about running Facebook ads for people, I would never like have screenshots or show them like how to set up ads in the ad account and say, firstly, we go and select the age range, then we select the interests, and then, you know, we tick this box to do this, because people aren't interested in that. That's why they're coming to you. But instead, we'd say, you know, what we do within Facebook is we set up campaigns. We're able to target people, and it'll get your ads, your content in front of people that are likely to buy. And we're able to do all of that within Facebook, and even make a joke of it, like all that technical stuff. You don't even need to worry about it. You never look at it. We do all of that. All you need to know is that we get your content in front of your customers, and all you need to do is just provide the money to do so, and just make it really simplified. People care more about the end result. But yeah, people also, you will get some technical people that want to know the details, so make sure you have them there to be able to explain or show. But on a deck, just really condense it down, minimal bullet points, minimal sentences, just to the point, step-by-step process.
All right, sweet. So just keep it fairly vague unless they ask.
Yeah, fairly vague to a point, and that they need to understand what it is, but you don't need to go into massive detail. Cool. So yeah, if you want to put a deck together, man, and put it in the group, let me know. If you want to send it privately as well, I'm happy for you to do that. But it would also be beneficial to everyone else. But put something together. I'll get a template for you over the next few weeks. So just moment is trying to focus on building up the group and these live calls, and I'm going to start putting a lot more content in there. But yeah, all right. Give someone else a chance to ask a question. Probably the final one. Let's go really quick, and then if not, just shoot a message over on Discord, and I'll answer you there. If no one's asking a question, I've got some questions to answer from people. So Crypto Jim asked, how do you execute a good sales call? Things that you should say and things that you should not say, or things that you should avoid. Again, that's a massive subject. Like, people asking for like sales advice is so vague. I can't just go through that. You know, that's something that we train in-house for like 2 months, and very intensive. So there's tons of things there, but you know, few certain things is having a script to start with. Especially, you want to basically have a script, learn it so well that you then don't need the script, you don't rely on it, you don't read off it, and you instead are naturally just able to ask and say the main things, but you say it in a more natural way. Because relying on a script and things that are scripted, people can see it sometimes. It leaves you vulnerable to going off the script, but you need that to start with to actually know what to say, because there are certain things that you do need to say. So obviously, all the key information, that really depends on your business. You need to have that within a sales call. You need to understand their budget, you know, what their goals are, understand their motivations, understand their problems, And then there's a few other things, like you said, what should you do? What should you avoid? Avoid just chatting too much and speaking too much. Listening is a very powerful sales tool. So you should be listening most of the time on a sales situation. Avoid language that doesn't show that you know for definite what you're talking about. So for example, if somebody says, I think, avoid terms as well. I'm quite bad at that, but avoid terms if you can. So if somebody asks you something and they're looking for you to like maybe give them a number or something like that, try and avoid vague questions like, oh, I think we could maybe get you 5 calls this month. Saying I think or we could, it always shows uncertainty. Try and be very absolute. So you'd say something like, with the process that we've developed, we'll be booking you 10 calls a month guaranteed. Or you don't actually have a guarantee, you don't need to say that, but you're the expert, right? People don't want to buy from someone if they don't think you know what you're talking about. So avoid any of that, the word iffy or non-absolute language. Try and think what else. Sticking to a script too granularly is a big issue I see a lot of people have when they start out. So for example, they'll have a script that will have like 10 questions on it, and they might say, what's your monthly budget? And they say, I mean, most of the time people don't have a monthly budget, but let's say it's a dream client and they say 10K a month, and you just go, what marketing have you done to date? And you just ignore it. You just kind of move on to the next question, like you're interviewing someone or interrogating someone, or you're on like a game show like Mastermind or something. You know, you're not on a time limit. You don't have to like just get all these questions like banged out. You need to develop a relationship with people, and you need to show that you're listening. So I always think the easiest way to think about this is if somebody, whenever you ask a question, somebody gives you an answer, say something back, you know, add to it. Pretend it's a conversation with your friend. Like imagine if you just went to your mate, oh, what did you do this weekend? And they went, oh, I went out, you know, it was amazing. And you just like completely ignored it and just said, what are you doing this weekend? And you just sound like a robot. Like it's not a conversation. It just sounds really weird. Always try and think of sales situations as a conversation. So if somebody says, I've got 10K budget, I'll say, that's a really good budget. You know, how did you get to that number? You're seeing results with 10K right now. Try and add to it. Say something that might, what's the word? Subtly hint at your skills is a nice way of doing it. So they say, I got 10K a month. You say, great budget. We've actually just signed a client that's spending 10K a month as well. And the first month was incredible. We managed to get them like 4x that. So you've like kind of subtly bigged yourself up without being too, you know, as opposed to instead you saying, right now, I want to show you a client that we managed to get 4 times return ad spend for in the first month. That's quite like, I'm going to show you a case study, whereas the other one's a bit subtle. It's a bit more casual, a bit conversational. So always try and avoid that like robotic interview style conversation. Think about it as a girl or boy or whatever your preference is that you're trying to like develop a relationship with. You just met them in the club or met them, whatever. You know, try and have a back and forth conversation, throw some humor in there, throw some human aspect into that conversation. You know, you're not just trying to get people to answer quick fire questions. So yeah, there's tons of other things I could throw into that in terms of like, what else could you do in a sales call? Like I said, it's a huge subject, so I can't go through everything here. As part of the Discord, we will be teaching you stuff like that. And anyone that's maybe interested in further one-to-one stuff, let me know if you've got some interest there, and I could let you know. At the moment, don't have any time for any coaching or mentoring students, but if you are interested, please drop me a message, because at some point we will be opening that back up. What are the best options to offer a potential new client? Do I say that's so weird? Offer a potential new client to increase the chance of getting them on board. For example, a 3-month free trial. I would never do a 3-month free trial. That's ridiculous. If we hit an agreed ROAS, at most 30-day free trial, but there's a clever way to actually offer free trials that end up not being free, and that's by saying we'll work for free unless we hit this target and make that target, make them happy with the target. You know, I think what we did was one of our clients that was, I think, a third client that was quite good. We said we would charge £1,000 a month. This is when we first started, but we know that you never worked in an agency or whatever we said. So we'll charge £1,000, but only if we get you 4 times return ad spend, I think it was. And they said, yeah, and we hit that and we got £1,000. Whereas if we just said we'll do a free trial, we wouldn't have got paid, but they probably would have been happy to pay us. So I wouldn't ever do a free trial. Offers, when it comes to offers, I've gone through a lot of this on calls already, but guarantee is always like really, really good way to sign the client, but you have to be confident in your ability for them to, whatever the guarantee is, for you actually not fulfill, let me phrase that a better way. The guarantee, you have to be like extremely confident that you can do it, like undoubtedly confident. If it's like, I'll get you this or your money back, you want to try and make it so that it's impossible for you to give them their money back. Not by like scamming them or like some secret terms, but make the criteria, you know, if they were to follow that criteria, then you would without a doubt be able to get them the results. For example, we have a guarantee that's double your revenue, but only firms that have a certain amount of budget, they have proof that they're growing, they have supply, they pay us on time, they have enough creative, they do all these things. If they have all of that, then we're confident we can get them, we can double their sales. But if they don't, then we just say you've not qualified for the guarantee. So guarantee is good. Best potential. Yeah, trial, I would avoid just any free trials. I would always try and tie it to results. But you said that actually, payment included if we hit an agreed ROAS. So yeah, that's a good way of doing it. But yeah, you don't need to offer free trials to start. Just try and start small and work your way up. Guarantee, I think, would be the best thing to offer there. Any more questions from anyone on the call? I think Caleb was gone. But...
I've got one more question. So like the people I want to work with are like established agencies or people who have like maybe got, I don't know, like a fair income, not like startups or anything. Do you know like good places to look for those, or could it just be anywhere, like maybe LinkedIn?
Twitter is your best place for agency owners.
LinkedIn.
Twitter.
Oh, Twitter. Sorry, I didn't hear you. Twitter.
Twitter's full of agency owners.
Oh, okay. And
Agents, coaches. Yeah, I would just follow somebody in your space that offers the same thing as you. Go through all their followers, go through everyone that engages in their content, follow them. Before you start following en masse, post some content yourself so they know, make your bio relevant. So I help agencies book X meetings in X amount of time. Is your bio like really to the point? Have some content on there like where somebody clicks on your page, they think, okay, this guy's actually publishing good content, and then go follow people, you know, like 10 or 20 people a week, maybe start it slow. And then eventually, you know, you need to make sure that you're publishing content people are going to engage with and posting value, posting strategies. People will start to retweet you, people start to like your stuff, and you'll get some authority. It might take a few months, but Twitter's been insane for us. And there's tons of agency owners on there.
all right, sweet.
LinkedIn as well, but Twitter's the better platform, I think. For
Do they need to be following you as well for you to be able to send them a message, or?
I don't think so. Some people have the setting on, but not everyone. But I wouldn't DM anyone to start with. I would just focus on content. You just try and get a little bit of a platform on there. Spend like 2 or 3 weeks just building up some followers, getting some content published. Content could be like, you know, sharing a script. Don't be afraid to give away your secrets, because otherwise people won't think that you actually know what you're talking about. And a lot of the time, business owners they'll want to work with you because they don't have time to do it, rather than they don't know how to do it. Like, I know how to send loads of cold emails and book meetings, but I just sometimes don't want to do it. So I hire someone to do it. So yeah, do that. And then, yeah, when you're DMing people, it needs to have something like a mad offer. Like, we actually hired a cold email person from Twitter, funnily enough. And I think they basically came in and said, we guarantee you X meetings in X amount in 30 days or something. You know, you're interested in a call. And we were like, yeah, sure. I clicked his profile. The guy was called Cold Email, whatever, expert wizard or something. And then he had like loads of content about cold emails. He'd shared scripts. I was like, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. And then we booked a call, and we ended up paying him $2,000 a month, I think. It did all right. Didn't do that well, but yeah, all right. I'm gonna get off, but nice to see you guys. Let me know if you guys have got any questions. Put them in the Discord. I'll see you next week, unless I need to change it for whatever reason. But I'll try and aim for Tuesday, similar time. Make sure you're following me on Twitter, subscribe on YouTube. All the details are in Discord. I'll be putting more and more content in there over the next few weeks. 2023, really, we're going to ramping stuff up in the Discord, but stay tuned. And yeah, thank you all. Have a nice evening.
Thank you for your time.
Where's man?